Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracy.
Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays.
So close to the holidays. This week we're talking about the movies released between December 14th through December 20th. We have 9 to 5 with the 45-year anniversary. The Color Purple with 40 years. Moonstruck with 38. Edward Scissorhands with 35. Dumb and Dumber with 31. Jumanji with 30. Titanic with 28. And Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events with the 21-year anniversary. This week we decided to see Moonstruck, Edward Scissorhands, Dumb and Dumber, Titanic, and A Series of Unfortunate Events to get a fresh look and discuss them in more detail. But the other three movies, 9 to 5, Color Purple, and Jumanji, have pretty big anniversaries. So if you're a fan, definitely check them out. Personally, of the three, I have more of a memory and appreciation for Jumanji as a kid. But, I recently saw The Color Purple all the way through around this time last year, I think. And holy crap, I can go on about that movie. It's really one of the best movies that not only Steven Spielberg's ever done, but one of the best movies of the 21st century, and I absolutely adore.
It's quite impactful, let's put it that way.
I'm never going to look at Whoopi Goldberg the same way again after watching that movie. She was absolutely phenomenal. Everything just coming together. It was just an incredible, hard to watch, but important to watch kind of film that I truly appreciate. And with 40 years, that's something that's definitely worth talking about and appreciating.
And I think Oprah Winfrey was incredible in it.
Oh my God, Oprah Winfrey. You could not, even at that time, you couldn't imagine somebody to be like her to be able to do such a great job as an actress. She was already so multi-talented, but to see her acting range,
She said she got a calling to do that role, mm-hmm. and she was at a fat farm at the time. Mm-hmm. And Steven Spielberg said, keep eating. Do not lose any weight. Not an ounce. Not an ounce. Mm-hmm. Get away from that fat farm. He wanted to make sure that she looked exactly how he wanted her to look. And she was happy as could be because she
who couldn't say no to bread?
she had a vision to be part of The Color Purple. She wanted to be part of that important movie.
Such a great cast all around. I love talking about the movie, but we really want to focus on the ones that we saw this week. But we also want to mention that 9 to 5 is celebrating a 45-year anniversary.
I love that movie too.
And that was pretty impactful at the time too. It was really important for a women-centric film like this about women empowerment and women in the workplace and how they really run the show. It's really funny. It's a really funny premise. And I love that it kind of spirals out of control. It feels kind of like Golden Age of Hollywood kind of stories when it comes to comedies. And it's almost in a way kind of like Chaplin about how he brings those movies to life with these really bizarre stories. And 9 to 5 is a pretty bizarre story, but told really, really intelligently.
And Dolly wasn't supposed to write the theme for that movie. She did it on impromptu. And she did it on her nails.
That's just how talented she is.
Yeah.
Just inspired.
She and Jane Fonda was like, "What do you mean you wrote a song?" She's, I wrote a song, and it goes like this. And she had her nails, and she started and it sounded like typing. And that's how she wrote the song. And Jane Fonda was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. It's perfect. and they all got along so well, and they'd become friends ever since. And that's how Dolly Parton got her acting, was from that movie. It started right then and there.
She was still well done in it. She really did a great job too.
But she was not an actress at the time.
No.
But she got her acting from that movie.
It really showed her on-screen charm outside of concerts and maybe some appearances on interviews and whatnot. It really showed her charm and her talent. also just similar to Oprah, like really showing what she was capable of.
Yeah, and it was amazing, that movie, and it took off. But yeah, and Jumanji, wow.
I have a very, for lack of a better phrase, Jumanji's a double-edged sword to me, where I love the movie, but there's parts I just don't like watching. Specifically, the spider part. I mean, it goes on for like 10 minutes, and it gets really obnoxious after a bit. But that's a personal thing. I get it. It's a thing that I don't personally enjoy. I can appreciate how well done it is, because everything looks so practical and beautiful, in its own really twisted and dark way. But I can't enjoy it because the arachnophobia hits me too much. It's too real. But it's a really incredible movie. I mean, I also really thoroughly enjoy it. Robin Williams' acting also really shines out there. I mean, this is a film that you don't expect to really have a lot of great acting moments and great performances, but every one of them, I mean, you could see the look in Robin Williams' eyes during this film about how traumatized he is, like as a kid forced to grow up in this really messed up world, which is like the jungle world. The premise is great. I mean, Kirsten Dunst. I mean, she played the little girl in it. She was phenomenal. She really showed what she was capable of as a 12-year-old. I keep saying that over and over again. Capable. But a lot of these movies are introducing a lot of people that we well know of to this day. So 30 years is also a big milestone, too. But let's move on. Let's move on to Moonstruck. This was released December 18th, 1987. It's directed by Norman Jewison and was written by John Patrick Shanley. The film stars Cher as an Italian-American woman who falls in love with her fiancé's brother while her fiancé looks after his dying mother. And it's
the brother's mother too.
Yes.
It's quite a film.
I think of this kind of like the Italian version of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And that's because it has the same charm. It has the same basic plot idea of finding love in unexpected places, and about how families are quirky and different, and how they bring together important points about family, about what you do with them and without them in a very serious and funny way.
It shows the close-knitness of the neighborhood in New York, of the Italians, I feel. I knew about the close-knitness of neighborhoods in New York because I had a boyfriend from New York. And he was from Long Island, however, he had family in the city of New York and the neighborhoods of New York City. So I knew how close-knit they were, and how they had the Italians, the Greeks, and they had the different ethnicities, and how close they were. Mm-hmm. And so it really showcases that. It really, and it shows the working class during the 80s.
The film stars Cher, Nicolas Cage, Olympia Dukakis, Danny Aiello, and John Mahoney, which I forgot John Mahoney was in this.
Yes.
And he plays a 60-year-old man who's like a womanizer who keeps going after really young women compared to his age at least.
Maybe 50s even. I don't know if he's 60.
Right. But he's got like full of white hair. Looks like it could be grandpa essentially.
Great. But he's great. He's grayish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting like side character that also I like how they bring him on to more of the central plot later on in the film, and discussing what relationships mean. And it's a movie about relationships. At the end of the day, it's a film about relationships and what they do to each other. And what they do to individual people, and how it affects everybody in some way, shape, and form. Cher was, so good in this. I think she won the Oscar, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, she won the Oscar for Best Actress at the time in this movie, which she did excellently. I'm guessing nobody expected her to do such a great job in it. But I really also, but just again, like the other movies, this is a movie where people found out she was capable of a different kind of talent.
Well, they saw her talent in several movies before this. Mm-hmm. In The Mask, that was about the boy that had the deformed face.
Right.
Eric Stoltz played. They also saw her in the film with Meryl Streep. I'm trying to think of the name of the film, about the nuclear problem. I can't remember the name of the film all of a sudden. But she was in that. And this one really showcased her as well. It really made her shine. And Olympia Dukakis won for Best Supporting Actress. So, it was a $15 million budget, and it made $122 million.
That's 1987 money. So just imagine what that is nowadays.
And Nicolas Cage really shined in this film.
I loved how
their chemistry was really strong.
Let me tell you something about Nicolas Cage. I love Nicolas Cage for a variety of roles. I don't know if I've ever really talked about him on the podcast, but I love him in a variety of different roles, and I think he is genuinely a very good actor. I will say, this is why I have to say this with context. He is so bad in this movie, but he is so bad he's good.
He's not bad in this movie at all.
He really, but he hams it up so much in this. He has so many lines that he really hams it up and goes really soap opera dramatic kind of thing.
He's supposed to. He's not soap opera. No,
there were some lines that were more like
he's supposed to be like opera. It's supposed to be like an opera because they go see an opera and then he's so dramatic like an opera. The whole point is like it's an opera.
I know where you're coming from and I agree with it. But it's kind of jarring to see at first because everybody just takes the movie so realistically, and then you see him come on board. He says such these romantic, passionate things that nobody says on a normal basis.
Yeah, but she opened up his life.
Mm-hmm.
She opened up his eyes. She opened up his life. That's the whole point.
No, I get it. I really got a kick out of watching him. He was so fun. He was so fun to watch in this.
Every time I see it, it takes me back to when I first saw it. Takes me back to when I first saw it.
It still really holds up today.
Yeah,
it's a slower paced film, but it needs to be. It's something that everybody can understand, no matter what phase of a relationship you may be going through, whether it be marriage or or the start of a new relationship, or maybe you're down the dumps with what's been going on. You can relate to it, and it will help you in the way the movie can teach you about what to do next and that sort of thing.
Olympia Dukakis was so good in it, and the way that she treated her husband and how he was cheating on her, and it didn't really bother her at all because she knew that he was just going through a phase.
Mm-hmm. It's very well written. It's extremely well written, and it's something that I did enjoy for the most part. What would you give it out of 5 stars?
Well, you didn't ask me like how was it when I first saw it and all that.
Fair enough, but you also said that it takes you back to the first time that you did see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first time I saw it, I was shocked how Cher looked so plain. I'd never seen. I mean, I saw Cher plain in that other role with Meryl Streep when she looked really butchy and gay. And then so it wasn't shocking, but it was shocking for her to look so plain as a New Yorker. You know, I knew she was playing in the other role. So, but she looked so plain, and then she dressed up. And so then I was like, oh, okay, now she's back. You know, so and then she used a New York accent. You know, so I saw her acting chops, her real acting chops in this. Her real acting chops, and that she was diverse. So, and she wasn't afraid to show gray hair and to show herself plain and then dress up and then, you know, I was impressed with her. I was extremely impressed. I said, this woman is taking on acting seriously. I said, she's going to be an actress for the rest of her life. I knew she was great when she was on the Sonny and Cher show, because I used to stay up late and sneak out and watch the show, and my parents didn't want me to watch it because they thought it was risque, and I used to sneak out.
How old were you at the time?
8 to 10 years old, maybe 7.
So it's probably risque for a 7-year-old.
Yeah, there was risque things on it, and I used to sneak out and watch it. And my sister let me watch it in her room.
And your sister was like 17 at the time.
Yeah. So I used to sneak out and watch it. And so, and I used to say, she's really good. She's a really good. And they do skits and stuff. And I say, oh, she's really good at this. And I remember she'd do different skits and different acting roles. And I thought, she's going to be great one day. She's going to be a great actress. And she was. And she was really good. And when I saw this, I said, and I didn't know that this would consider being an Oscar. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know they would nominate her for an Oscar. And they did. And when she got up there, and she was in this really, showed all her body parts, they were shocked. And she didn't care. I was like, yes. Yes. I was so happy. And then Olympia Dukakis won too. I was like, whoa. This is women power. This is great. This is real. This is really incredible.
And not something that's more of, it's like, there's always been, of course, films that are winning at the Oscars, but sometimes those roles won because they're Oscar roles. But this was a story that was more realistic. It was more down to earth. It really felt like it could relate to the people. I mean, it showed with the box office, too, how much money it made. It showed that people liked a movie that was talking to them.
But it was a woman that cheated on her fiancé.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not considered a good girl. So it was like, yes, this is realistic. Mm-hmm. This is great.
But it wasn't out of spite. It was out of love.
You're right.
Like they just happened to fall for each other.
Yeah, but see... But this was great. This was realistic.
It was actually funny thinking about it too, because and also it's important to know the context that when he proposes to her, he proposes to her at a restaurant without kneeling down, and he said, and she calls him out and says, "You're going to propose? You're not going to kneel? Like what? This isn't a proposal." So he gets on his knees very submissively, like really submissively.
Out of being forced, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I guess I have to get on my knees now. And then she says, "Where's the ring?" And he says, "Ring, crap, I didn't bring a ring."
Yeah,
he didn't do anything. He was just there because he said, "I want to marry you." That's it.
It's like being forced.
So obviously it wasn't meant to be. They knew like it wasn't going to happen in the first place too. So,
anyway, but it was I loved the film when I first saw it. I loved the film. I liked the writing. I liked the realism. I liked the grandpa. I loved it. I loved the whole. I love that it looked just like those Stony Brook, Brooklyn, whatever you want to call it, houses. I thought it all looked realistic. I loved it.
Good. What would you give that 5 stars?
4.5.
I give it a 4. I'm going to be generous and give it a 4. If I'm more critical, I'd say 3.5. But I think 4 is going to be a better roundup for how I really feel about it. As an objective, like, just blanket look at it. All right, great. Let's move on.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Edward Scissorhands now. It was released December 7th, 1990. It was directed by Tim Burton and written by Caroline Thompson, also written by Burton as well, because it's loosely based off of not only the drawings he used to do, but it was also based off of his childhood as well. It tells the story of an unfinished, artificial young man who has scissors instead of hands, is taken in by a suburban family, and falls in love with their teenage daughter. So this, when it comes to, I want to explain a little bit more. Tim Burton he grew up in California. He called himself a different kid. He didn't always get along with people. He felt like, these are his words, from my doing the research on it, he always felt like he couldn't get along with people that well, and he never could really find many people that bonded with him the way that he wanted to, because he's kind of a different guy. But he drew a lot of things, and one day he drew a guy with scissors instead of hands, and that became Edward Scissorhands. Caroline Thompson was really inspired by the drawing and by his story, and wanted to write a story about it. So they worked together while he was working on Batman, and making this film come to life, in every sense of the word. And they worked together to make something that's kind of about his childhood, about a kid growing up in Burbank, California, around that area. And so it's very much a passion project of his that really was told through the eyes of her and his own livelihood as well. So it really makes sense that this was brought together. You could feel the love and the realness that comes from that original story brought and told in this very artistic and a unique adaptation of coming of age. So that's a good way to get started. It stars Johnny Depp. It's one of his most pivotal roles, I would say, in all of his roles ever. Scissorhands is one of the most important roles he's ever done, both as an actor and as just a figure, a face for Tim Burton as well. It also stars Diane West, Winona Ryder, Alan Arkin, Anthony Michael Hall, and Vincent Price in his last film role.
I would say that some of them are. I wouldn't say they are starring. Some of them, they're
Featured.
sub-roles.
Yeah. So is this the first time you saw this movie?
No, I saw it in the theater.
So way back when? Who did you see it with?
It came out in 1999. I saw it with a boyfriend of mine at the time, and some family members, and we were celebrating the holidays. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So this would be how your
we thought we're gonna go see Edward Scissorhands celebrating because we knew the film was pretty crazy, so we wanted to feel pretty happy. So I hadn't seen it since then.
So this is your first.
So when I was watching it with you, I was like, I don't remember Alan Arkin being in this.
I don't remember this. I don't remember that. Yeah, I wonder why. I have a couple guesses as to why you probably don't remember it. Whoa, man.
But I do remember feeling like it was in Florida, and then you researched and it was made in Florida.
Yes, it was. It was in a small town in Florida. And some parts of it were kind of recreated. You also see a Publix very briefly.
Yeah.
You see a Publix shopping center, like old school shopping center.
I remember saying, I think this looks like Florida. I remember saying that to my sister, Roxy. I think they filmed this in Florida.
And it did?
I said, this looks just like Florida. She said, it looks like those little concrete houses in Florida.
So even though you may not remember the film when you first saw it, do you remember what happened afterwards? If people talked about it that much, because it did relatively well back then. It had a $20 million budget. It made $86 million in the box office.
We saw it at night, and everybody was talking like, "Wow, what a weird movie! This is a weird movie." We were saying we can't recognize Johnny Depp. It doesn't look anything like Johnny Depp. Wow, what a weird movie. It was just everybody. Wow, that was wacko. That was so weird.
What did people talk about? Did you hear about it afterwards at all?
Yes, and other people were talking about, it's going to go down as a cult film. We thought it compared to like Rocky Horror.
Interesting. Now, would you say a cult film is a cult film when it doesn't make money at the box office, or it's a cult film even though it made a lot of money at the box office?
No. It wasn't like about making money. It was just like it would always be around forever.
Well, I'm starting to think that cult films are films that you think about, but that don't do that well in the box office. They become a niche.
Not necessarily. No. It means that it will always be around. Mm-hmm. That people will always adore it and love it.
Okay.
Because it's a weird kind of wacky... This one we thought is a weird wacky film and that there'll always be a following. That's what a cult film is.
Okay.
There are always going to be people that's going to love this film. It's a weird, wacky kind of film.
So in that case, can a cult film also be a blockbuster?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I know people have that conversation. It just made me think about it while we were talking about this. That cult films have a strange definition nowadays.
Yes, it doesn't mean that it didn't make any money.
Yeah, Rocky Horror is a cult film. It didn't do that well, but now it's everywhere. It's more popular than most of the movies that we'll ever talk about.
Spinal Tap at first didn't make any money.
And look at it.
And now it's a big, huge drawing. Mm-hmm. But Edward Scissorhands, people liked, but I thought to myself, this was going to be a movie that people were going to say, wow, it was ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. And I knew it then. But I was kind of like, oh.
So aside from, seeing the movie properly and fully the first time, what really stood out to you watching this film?
I didn't like the Biff character. I thought, oh my gosh.
Anthony Michael Hall. He was this bully character.
I could not stand, and it probably got on my nerves then too. it was driving me crazy. It was getting boring. It was a boring part about that character and that whole scenario, and it was driving me crazy. I didn't like it. I don't like the ending. It really was something that was unnecessary.
I see symbolically why there needs to be a character like him. I just don't think Anthony Michael Hall was the right person to play the role.
They could have done something different.
Okay. They could have. Before talking about the ending, I want to point out some other things about the film that both you and I talked about off recorder, off audio, about how this is my third time watching the movie, and looking at it again, every time I've seen this movie, I appreciate it more and more. And at the time, I gave it like 4 stars, just off my own opinion about things. But watching it again, I really, truly adore this movie. I've really come to realize how much I do love this film, not just as a storytelling device, but also as a piece of art. It really does feel like somebody's masterpiece. It's like I could compare this to Da Vinci's Mona Lisa, where every single frame has a purpose, has a distinct reason for existing. The artwork in there, the production design, it's all phenomenal. It really just, it takes you into that world, and you're always curious to see what's around the corner. I could not believe how much I enjoyed this movie watching it again.
Well, I didn't like how he puts, and I say he, the creators, because I think there's several involved, puts down some women in it. They act like they're so obsessed with Edward Scissorhands initially, and then they end up hating him. It's a love-hate. And then make it like the women are so shallow.
I believe that wasn't just them, though, like women. I think it was also a mob mentality thing, too.
But it's women.
The focus was on women at first, and then it moved to men, and then ended up going to everybody, and then it turned into the whole Frankenstein story of eventually, it's kind of twisting the Frankenstein story on its head.
But it started by women.
Yes, it did. It started with women.
And then they're on the phone, and they're
gossiping about him.
And it's women, and they make it look like it's a witchery of women, witchcraft of women. They're stirring the pot, and it's really terrible.
I think in a way I do agree with you. I believe that there is also a hint of truth, though, of what he was saying, because there is a hint of truth that women play an important role with socialization, especially in that suburban environment, and how it could lead to more conversations and more meetups with people. Men are, realistically, they're less interactive with each other compared to women. So really, women leading in that environment, that neighborhood, leading the socialization aspect and introducing people to him, I think there's truth that comes from that, and that's something I
think it was exaggerated.
Of course it's exaggerated. It's a guy with scissors for hands living in a suburban
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the...
Sure. I didn't really pay attention. I did pay attention to it, but I just didn't see that as a criticism per se.
I do, and I analyzed it. I analyze things like that, and I think it's negativity towards women.
On the other hand, I also saw a lot of positivity towards women, specifically mother figures. Watching Diane West play the mother in this,
was very positive.
I was so impressed, and I really loved her personality. I loved what she was doing. I loved what her reasoning. It was full of just love. It was full of open-mindedness and love. The first thing she does when she sees Edward Scissorhands, and it's not in the best light at all, but she sees him and she immediately thinks, "Let me help you, and I can see you're hurt. Let me help." And that's something that most people aren't used to. That kind of thing. And you could tell from that scene where they're introduced to each other, that you could tell that there also stems a lot of truth from where Tim was going through, where he met people who were trying to reach out to help him go through a world that may not accept him for who he is. I see the love, I see the truth that comes from it all, and it's so well done, it's so realistic. This is exactly what some of these genuinely good-hearted people would do for somebody who is dealing with a lot or suffering, or doesn't know how to handle this new kind of world that.
No, I agree. There was some really great sincerity and genuineness that I saw. That is wonderful to see.
Yeah, I like Alan Arkin a lot in this too, and I like how all this writing really what I'm talking about, and how Alan Arkin's character, who's the father of this family, he's curious. He's like, "Hey, so Edward, what's with your hands?" He asks him questions, but he treats him like an equal. They understand he's a very unique person in this world, but they don't treat him any differently. They treat him like, you're just different. Who cares? And they make him part of the family. The younger kid, the younger brother figure, he treats him kind of like a freak, but also like not in a weird way, but more of like, hey, can I show him tell at my school kind of way, where it comes from good intentions. It's just he just says it badly because he's a kid and he's getting used to a different guy like Edward coming around too. And I think it's all very realistically told. And
well, what's really beautiful about the movie, which I like the most about, is that they allow him to show his strengths by he starts using his hands to make the beautiful art from the plants, from cutting the dogs and grooming their dogs and then grooming the women's hair. Mm-hmm. And that's where they start loving him and not thinking him as a weird freak of the neighborhood living in that weird mansion. So then they start seeing that he's a strength. He's not a weakness. He's not a weirdo. So that's the beauty of the film to me, is that there's always strengths and not just weaknesses in people, not just weirdness. There's strengths, okay? So that's what I think was wonderful, and see the Diane West, the mother, she always saw a strength in him. She always saw underneath everything there was a strength in him. She sees the strengths and the beauty of people right away. And that's something that in my family, we always took in when I was growing up, if my friends had a friend of a friend that needed a place to stay, we always took those in. Mm-hmm. We always thought, the more the merrier. That's how we grew up. Because if they needed a place to stay, that was the best thing to do. Because there's always a room for one more plate. Because, you know what? Everybody needs a helping hand, and maybe they could help us out too.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but maybe down the road. But it's more the merrier. That's how a philosophy of our family was. That's how we grew up. And
love thy neighbor.
That's right. That's the way it was. Mm-hmm. And so we always had somebody staying at our house, one way or another, and it was the way it was. We always had extra, even if it was them, in a what do you call it, a camping bag or something, on the couch or whatever. It was just the way it was. And that was the way we lived, because we wanted to help each other. And we learned from other people. And it was a wonderful thing. So this movie had some beautiful things in it, but there was some to me, I didn't like the ending at all. Not the very, very ending, but...
Yeah, the climax, essentially. I see where you're coming from. I don't disagree with it. I think it could have ended a different way, but I honestly, I accept how he wanted to tell the story.
But I forgot to say this. Hmm? I love the beginning, how the old woman was telling the story to her granddaughter, mm-hmm. and at the end, and how the snow and how it ended. That was beautiful.
I completely agree. Absolutely. You don't expect it, because you don't know how it's going to really go and how it's going to transition back to the grandparent.
I did.
I mean, you kind of see it, but why does it snow is the question. Exactly. So I love this movie. I can go on and on, but I really appreciated this movie a lot more.
I saw your eyes getting magical about it. If I were them, I would have done snow globes.
Oh yeah, they would have made bank on snow globes.
Of Winona and Scissorhands and the little villages and I would have just banked on that. Absolutely. And for their anniversary coming up for 40 years, you should maybe push that.
Well, it doesn't come as a surprise that I give this 5 stars. What would you give it?
Because of Biff and the some of the ending and problems and how they made women look bad, I give it a 3.
Okay.
But I would have changed it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's got some beautiful cinematography. It's got some beautiful messages too. So, but giving it a 3 is not bad. Mm-hmm. And it made
$86 million
out of a $20 million budget, but this was one of the first films by Tim Burton, wasn't it?
Yes. It's like his third or fourth movie.
But it was the first one with Johnny Depp, right?
Yes, and that led to their long-standing relationship.
I don't even recognize Johnny Depp in this.
Yep, he's incredible.
Yes.
At one point, it was funny because I was going over the behind the scenes of it. They said that one option that we're going to have to play him, a conversation that they had to play Edward was Tom Cruise. I mean,
don't even go there. I'm not going to go through that. You went through a bunch of them, and they were stupid.
It was so weird, so crazy.
It was stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, next we're going to talk about Dumb and Dumber, released.
And is that about us? I was just. Who's dumb and who's dumber?
You're dumber.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It was released December 16th, 1994. It was directed by Peter Farrelly, and it was written by Peter and Bobby Farrelly, along with Bennett Yellen. Two dim-witted friends with hearts of gold go across the country to return a briefcase to a woman one of them fell in love with, leading to a road trip of a lifetime. It's Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels as Dumb and Dumber, with Lauren Holly as the love interest.
This movie.
We have a good history with this film. We've watched it dozen plus times, throughout our years. This is just it's
I don't know,
staple.
I don't know if I've watched it a dozen times, but I've watched it quite a few.
It's a staple. It's a family staple for us to watch and enjoy.
Oh my God!
I mean, this is watching this movie may remind me a lot of. I didn't realize how much of a Three Stooges kind of inspired plot this actually is, and how they pull it together when it comes to the slapstick and the fun that comes from it. The jokes do still land, but after watching it a dozen times, you don't obviously laugh as hard as you do the first time watching.
I still
a
laugh
comedy.
I can't help.
Oh, there are some parts that just throw me off the wall. I love him saying, "Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" And then he says it. I'm not gonna. I don't want to hurt your ears doing it. The hot sauce thing.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That always gets me. I think this is my favorite part of the movie is the hot sauce thing.
I'm telling you, I think the hot ones show got from this movie.
They might have, yeah.
I think they did.
Because the look on that guy's face when he sees those pills and he's like, oh, no, oh my God.
No, I think Hot Ones came from that movie.
This movie is so funny. It is so crazy.
Oh my God. The blind boy with the parakeet. Oh. The dead parakeet. Oh my God.
That was that I remember I looked up I wanted to see like critic reactions, because this is the kind of movie that's going to get like panned reviews, because it's a very typical screwball buddy road trip movie. It's going to get panned by critics.
The IOU. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Well, I'm getting something. I'm getting to something.
Okay.
Roger Ebert talked about this review. I couldn't get to watch the actual Siskel and Ebert review, but Roger Ebert said that this is not really that great of a movie, but he said one of the funniest moments of my career is watching Dumb and Dumber and watching that dead parakeet thing. He says I cannot repeat like I was embarrassed about how I was sounding laughing at that dead parakeet. He said I was embarrassed to be in a movie theater because of how obnoxious I sounded laughing at
when they were arguing and when they were chained, or it wasn't chained, just roped to the bed. Both of them roped to the bed and arguing. And they were arguing over some other girl. Mm-hmm. It's just like two Dumb and Dumber friends and they were arguing over some other girl, and she was in between them. Oh my God, that was hilarious.
It's very realistic.
It's so realistic.
I love that these are two both. They're not complete morons. They're not very smart, but they also have.
They're not very smart.
They're not a smart man. They're not a smart man. But hear me out on this.
You can't go full retard.
Yeah, you really can't. You cannot go full retard on this. It's one of those things where when they say, like, these people, they're not that dumb. They have good moral values and they have good ethics, but then their ethics can swing them in the wrong direction by accident.
When Jeff Daniels gets mad at him because he had fallen asleep and he had gone 6 hours to Nebraska.
In another direction.
He says, "This doesn't look like Colorado mountains to me." Flat land. It was flat. He was so mad.
But you know where that laughter comes from? It comes from a truth where people have gone off the wrong side of the road and they've taken other directions, and we've been in those scenarios where we're so mad, we're so pissed.
Oh yeah, and you go the wrong way.
You can't help but laugh at it because of how ridiculous the situation is at this point. I love the part early on in the movie where those two hitmen go up to knock on the door, and Jim Carrey's looking through the peephole, and he says, like, and Jeff Daniels like, "Who is it?" And he's like, "Did you pay the gas bill?" It's like, oh no, because they got a gun. Oh no, they think they're gonna kill him over a bad gas bill.
Oh god. Oh my god. And then the IOU.
No, don't even get onto that. Let's not even spoil that one.
So you told me that Jeff Daniels only got paid $50,000.
He did.
And the movie cost $17 million. It made $247 million. How can Jeff Daniels sleep at night when he knows this movie made $247 million? He's the real dum-dum. He's the real freaking dum-dum.
You know what? He was smart to sign any role with Jim Carrey. He really was. And at the end of the day, his career blossomed. He's made more than $50,000 an episode, probably on like Network and other shows that he's been on. So he's doing fine. It's not like he that was the only thing he did. Then he would have been dumb.
He probably had more fun just being with Jim Carrey. Oh my gosh.
You could tell they had a blast doing this. It's one of those things where this movie will not work. It would have been a disaster without the two right actors doing it. Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels make this movie. Nothing else wouldn't have been nearly as good without these two. And the sequel, we saw it once in the theaters. It was very funny. I like to see it again. But it was like they're rehashing some things, and like they're doing more dumb things. But at the same time, it was still funny. It's just kind of different time. Like, it's been 20 years. Like, it's a different time. What else can you come up with? But I remember we laughed our butts off when we first saw it. So I wouldn't mind singing it again.
And I forgot that Terry Garr was in this film.
Mm-hmm.
She looked so good in it.
She did. So, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
5.
Okay. I give it a 4. It's super funny. The romance thing kind of gets boring for me, but it's super funny.
No,
overall.
I have to give it a 5 after seeing Terry Garr. The only thing I didn't like was that there was fake birds, but I guess they had to have fake birds, not the parakeet.
Yeah. we had to get a real parakeet, pop its head off.
No, the Hooters. There's a lot about the Hooters, remember? Nice Hooters. And then there's the owls.
Yeah, it's just 2 owls. Yeah. It's just these 2 owls. Yeah, these endangered owls. Oh my god.
They were fake.
Yeah, that was fake.
I remember the movie. I was thinking, that's not nice. And then he goes, "Oh, I mean the owls."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Let's move on to a little bit more of a serious subject. Titanic. Let's stop laughing at this. It was released December 19th, 1997. It was directed and written by James Cameron. Who doesn't know about this movie? It's the 3rd biggest movie of all time. It's about the story of young love on the infamous Titanic is told through the eyes of one of the few living survivors, and a 100-year-old woman named Rose. Full disclosure, it's a fictional story. It's a fully fictional romance, but the real story of the Titanic is the real story of the Titanic. It's a great ship. It sank to an iceberg. Thousands of people died. It was horrible. One of the worst disasters in history. Kate Winslet, Leo DiCaprio, Billy Zane, Bill Paxton, Kathy Bates, All these actors are in this movie, and they all do an excellent job. This was my, I would say, third or fourth time watching this movie. I've seen the second half of the film once, and that's all I need to see it like once. We did see only the first half of the movie again, because it is hard to watch, especially because it's 3 hours long too. But it's hard to watch the second half, but it's so well done at the same time. You have to give props to that too. But you've watched this film quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
It's got a $200 million budget. It was mainly just because James Cameron wanted to go deep sea diving for a long time. They gave him the money for it.
Not for deep sea diving. He wanted to see the Titanic.
Yeah. And he wanted to see it, so he did. And it made $2.2 billion in the box office. I think it's the third highest grossing movie of all time, not adjusting for inflation.
And one of the things I love about the film is that I saw the similarity between scenes, and especially the love scenes with this movie and my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time is Somewhere in Time. And it was based in 1912. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in Time. And James Cameron admits that he took scenes from that film and made this film, which Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour had an amazing love between each other. So I saw that similarity. I saw this film at first with Davey, my brother Davey. And
he urged you to see. He said, you have to see this movie.
Yeah. I was going to see this movie. I mean, it was talked about for ages and ages. But he said, you got to go see this movie.
So this movie was hyped for a long time.
Yes, for a long time. But David says, I want to go see it with you. I've got to see it with you. And he was just emphatic. So he held my hand through most of the movie. Mm. And wanted to see it with me and said, you've got Kate Winslet's eyes. I said, no, she's got my eyes. And he was so touched by this film. He loved Kate Winslet so much. And he loved it so much. And on his 40th birthday, I had a picture of Kate Winslet put on his 40th birthday cake. Hmm.
That's right. Yep, I remember that cake. I remember that cake. Wasn't she naked?
No, it was from Titanic in the purple dress.
I thought it was like just a silhouette of her face when she was.
No, it was in that purple dress.
Okay.
And normally they don't do that,
but I do remember that cake. But listen, and the story behind
normally
it.
They're not allowed. It's against copyright laws. Well, I convinced Sam's Club to take that picture that I got of Kate Winslet in her purple dress. And Kevin and John and Davey didn't know about Kevin and John and some of his friends. They would make jokes and say, so let them eat Kate. It's a cake. It was on his 40th birthday cake.
Oh my God.
And it was a big cake. It was a big, it was a half-sheet cake for his 40th birthday. And he kept that cake. He wouldn't cut where she was on it. Mm-hmm. And he kept it in his refrigerator for, we don't know how.
Until he met his wife.
He kept that cake in his refrigerator. He was obsessed with that. I don't know how long he kept that cake. But he loved that cake. That's one thing I did right.
It's Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet.
Okay, so we can find a way to make fun of this movie. And then laugh at it a little bit.
The Kate Winslet. The cake. Which was against copyright laws, but I got it done.
Yeah. I mean, overall, though, I think this is a very good movie. I mean, obviously, it's a great film. It's extremely well filmed, and I love the performances in it. They're really well done. My only big complaint about the movie is... how do I start with this? I think Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet were great for this movie. However, he looks like a 13-year-old kid.
And he doesn't look old enough for her.
Maybe like 15. But
he doesn't look old. Yeah. That was our complaint. Roxy and I said, why didn't they have Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt then was so good looking. Yeah. He was so perfect.
Kate Winslet looks like she's 30 in this. He looks like...
no, she does not look 30. She looks 22. She looks about 20 to 22.
Okay, and he looks like he's 16.
14.
And they're supposed
15. Maybe 16.
In the movie, in the film, she's supposed to be 17. He's supposed to be 20. But in reality, both actors are 23 and 24.
But he does not look it.
No, he does not look it at all.
Brad Pitt at that time looked beautiful. And Roxy and I were like, why didn't they had the money, why didn't they get Brad Pitt? Why didn't they get Brad Pitt?
Well, because he was
perfect.
Mom, don't you know he was in a much more important movie on its way. Here, let me show you. Okay, Fight Club came out in 1999. Never mind.
Why?
No, still though. I mean, shoot, what was Brad Pitt doing at the time?
They could have gotten even Jared. Why couldn't they have gotten Jared?
Jared Leto, absolutely not.
Why?
He was busy making My So-Called Life, wasn't he?
No, that was over with.
Well, they didn't want him.
Anyway, doesn't matter. We're not gonna. It will take forever to. Roxy and I were adamant. We were like, we called him the embryo at the time. that.
That's crazy.
He was. We called him the embryo. Leonardo was the embryo. He was not. And you know what John Rivers said? Mm-hmm. That if only Kate Winslet lost 20 pounds, he could have been on that raft with Leonardo, could have been on the raft with Kate Winslet, and they both could have lived.
Oh, well. But I do think that both Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet did an excellent job with each other.
Yes.
They have great chemistry, too. I mean, the chemistry is just palpable. You could just split it with the butter knife. It was extremely well done. I mean...
Well, they're great. They were great together as actor and actress. But I just don't think that... It was not the best. I think that she should have had someone like Brad Pitt or someone.
Yeah. I found myself really appreciating Bill Paxton in this. I liked how obsessed he was with the Titanic and the story and everything. I really liked it. It was such a small role, but so important at the same time. And it really stood out to me watching it this time around.
The dance scenes were really good.
Mm-hmm.
The dance scenes downstairs and the steerage and stuff, that was really well done.
Oh, yeah, very much. And extremely well filmed and put together considering the small space they had to work with. My personal favorite scene in the film is the chase scene between...
Those were cute. Those were cute scenes.
Yeah, I love the big chase. That's always my favorite scene. It's always been my favorite scene.
When you see Titanic on a big screen, it's nothing comparable. When you see it on the big screen, there's nothing comparable to how to see it like that. I'd go see it tomorrow if it was on the big screen. It's amazing and incredible.
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to get the 4K release of the film, and I wanted to at least watch some parts of it because we saw it not in 4K but like just regular HD. But watching it in 4K, the remaster, I was so in awe of how incredible the film looks. I mean, it looks like it could have come out this year. And it really shows how well
they can remaster.
And how they could remaster a film that already looked phenomenal when it first came out. And now it looks even better, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'd like to see the whole film remastered. So
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it. I would give it, I mean, realistically speaking, objectively speaking, I would give it 4.5 out of 5.
Me too, because there's some parts of that film I don't like. I don't like the old woman going, oh, and she drops the necklace back into the ocean. That really upsets me.
It's a priceless artifact.
It's ridiculous.
It's not about Jack. It's just like, dude, girl, what are you doing?
That upsets me.
You old bra. What would have made it work is if she threw it in the ocean and then you see Bill Paxton just swooping into the water to grab it.
No, a big shark coming to eat it.
Gotta get that jewel. Because he spent his whole life looking for it. He just throws it into the ocean. Everybody's made fun of it. It's super funny.
I know.
All right, move on to the last movie. Last one we watched this week was Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
And that's the heart of the... What is it called? The necklace is called the Heart of the Ocean?
No, it's... I don't care.
Heart of the Ocean.
Okay, maybe it's
That's the unfortunate event. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So it was released December 17th, 2004. It was directed by Brad Silberling, and it was written by Robert Gordon. After the tragic death of their parents in a fire, 3 orphans with a vast fortune are forced to live with their closest living relative, a distant cousin with wicked intentions. The film stars Jim Carrey, Emily Browning, Liam Aiken, Jude Law, Bill Connolly, and Meryl Streep. This movie, it's pretty important to me. This movie is the reason I became an actor. Watching Jim Carrey perform Count Olaf, it really did. I didn't realize that at the time, but it did change my life. This is my favorite book series of all time. I've read the entire series of Unfortunate Events over 10 times. I've counted it. It's at least 10 times. I've loved watching this. I love reading the books. Even to this day, those books are still so held up, even for adults, because it's so well written. It's so funny. But there are so many tragic moments in it as well. They teach you something every single book. Not just vocabulary, not just grammar. They teach you about life. And the life lessons that the books teach are so pivotal to anybody of any age, of any walk of life. I hold these books with a deep, deep respect and regard. These books are my childhood. And I loved Harry Potter and everything. I love those books too, but Series of Unfortunate Events is my favorite. So when this movie came out, I had to go see it. And you took me to see it. And just like the books, this movie changed my life.
I remember. And I remember when you did your audition as Count Olaf, and the director's mouth dropped. He was so impressed. And then he kept asking you to do this accent, and that accent, and this accent, and that accent. He was so impressed. And that was Will Ireland.
I have fond memories of that audition. I really do. That's why I want to become an actor. And that whole, everything from the audition onward, I mean, I loved that whole production too as a kid. And I still think very fondly of it.
Yes. So
this movie means a lot to me. It really does. Celebrating a 21-year anniversary. Newsflash, it still holds up today. The TV show was great. I mean, the TV show starring Neil Patrick Harris. I'm biased. Look, I'm biased against the TV show because I have extremely high expectations of some things in the books that were not properly translated to the TV show. It's my opinion as an artistic, creative person. But I do think that Neil Patrick Harris did a phenomenal job as Count Olaf. He really did the book version of Count Olaf properly. But I love Jim Carrey's portrayal in this movie because he does play Count Olaf. He does a pretty great, accurate interpretation of Olaf. But what makes him different from Neil Patrick Harris, who plays a more accurate interpretation, is that Jim Carrey, when it just comes down to it, Count Olaf is a sadistic monster that happens to be an actor. And Jim Carrey plays a really bad actor that happens to be a sadistic monster. And that's why he plays it so well. Where watching him badly act through these roles that he plays and him having this hammy, over-dramatic intentions in every single thing he does and says, it's phenomenal to watch. It's so funny, it's so engaging, and I absolutely love it.
Well, it was very interesting to see the movie again. I mean, I've seen it before. You know, I've seen it 2 or 3 times, probably 3 or 4 times. But each time, it still shocks me. It still surprises me. And what surprises me is Jim Carrey's performance.
He's so funny in this.
He's so good in it.
There's
always a surprise. There's always something I find surprising. I always find something else new. I always find something else intricate. Mm-hmm. New.
And we were watching this behind the scenes and watching how Carrey would work with the director, Brad Silberling, about bringing these certain characters to life and how he was putting them together. And
I didn't know he was so young.
Brad Silberling? Yeah.
I didn't know he was so young.
Mm-hmm. The production design of this film, it looks like how the book should look in your imagination. It's realistic, but with a really kind of weird Tim Burton-esque tone to it, and you pointed out throughout, like, there's a lot of Tim Burton-esque kind of scenes in this.
I did.
There's a lot of Tim Burton kind of weird quirks about this film.
I always thought that. But I think it's even more advanced.
Like Tim Burton in film school, it kind of.
I think it's more advanced. I think they went to a new level. I can't explain it.
It's not a ripoff. It feels like in its way kind of an homage. Like, it's just a style in a way, and it's very well done. It's very well put together. The costuming's great. The makeup's great. The actors, the kids who play the bold layers.
The costuming is incredible.
The biggest issue is that, okay, so Klaus is supposed to be 12 years old, and in this movie he looks like he's 16. That's probably the biggest.
No, I don't think he looks 16.
He looks like he could be 13, but like he's taller than Violet, who's supposed to be like.
You know what it is? He's got a big head.
Yeah, that's it.
He's got a big head. Some people have big heads.
Yeah, simple as that. But it makes sense. He's a bookworm. He's very intelligent, so he's got a big brain. Violet's great. I love.
They look alike, and that was great casting.
They do. They look just like siblings. They all look like siblings. The little baby.
Not the little one.
But she's a baby. What do you expect?
Yeah, but they should look alike.
But mothers can usually see.
She really looks. She doesn't look like. But as she got older, she does look like him.
Mm-hmm. And you love the baby or the twins.
Yeah.
In the first place.
But it doesn't. She doesn't really look like him. But she's so good. She's and I just love the way that they did it.
And I thoroughly enjoy. I mean, I like all the actors who are in this film. They all do such a great job in their way, shape, and form. I mean, Meryl Streep is hilarious. Watching this Academy Award-winning superstar play this agoraphobic freak of nature who is.
She reminds me of when she was in Into the Woods.
Yes, absolutely. It's like her little audition for Into the Woods is Wicked Witch, or The Witch. Mm-hmm. Bill Connolly, God, he's so great. I thought he was John Cleese. I forgot.
I know. I was like,
different guy.
I'm like, no, that's not John Cleese.
But he played it off Uncle Monty so well and so well done. It's very heartwarming and heartfelt, and he's a little quirky. And I remember
No, go ahead.
I love watching the reptile scenes with you because you would scream at these reptiles in the reptile room.
It still drives me crazy. Still, it makes you feel like you're in there.
Yes.
Those scenes, they make you. It's almost 3D.
The CGI in this movie is so realistic.
It makes you feel like
even 2004, even to this day, those scenes look realistic.
They make you feel like you're in those rooms.
Yes, absolutely.
I felt like they're crawling on me.
Boom! I got you. So, yeah, you're right, though. It's so well done. The film really holds up today. This is my example of a cult movie where, like, very few people talk about it. It still holds up, and it's extremely good quality to this day. And I say this with maybe a little bit of bias.
The leeches. Oh, the leeches.
The leeches are I like. Whatever. Who cares?
Oh. They're vicious leeches.
Yes. But it's all just very well done. I really enjoyed it. I like this movie a lot. Every time I watch it, I try to find bad things about it. I cannot find anything inherently bad. When I was a kid, I was upset about how they kind of quote unquote changed the ending, where they made the ending of the first book into the ending of the first movie, even though they went through the first 3 books. But I see why they did it. And I don't mind it as much as an adult.
But it flies by. You don't feel like you're in that movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is.
It's like an hour and 37 minutes.
But it feels like, phew.
Yep.
It does not feel like you're. And Jude Law, the narration is incredible. Oh my gosh, he should be a narrator for everything. Yeah. I love his voice. Oh my gosh.
He should narrate all the books.
He's so good. I just love his voice. I fell in love with Jude Law's voice when he did that movie. I was like, oh, talk to me.
You could hear the melancholy tone that he puts throughout the whole thing, and he brings the book, like at least the nature of the book, to life.
And the way they kept showing the typing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they did it so well. How they would show them typing and they'd stop it, and then he'd talk, and then he'd type, and then he'd talk, and then he'd type. They did it so well. How they did it in between. It was so well laid out, so well done. I applaud this whole film. It should have won awards.
It should have. It got completely snubbed everywhere. Nobody talks about it. And I think it's one of the best movies that all the actors have ever done, and the director as well.
The close-ups, then they go way out, and then they go, and then Dustin Hoffman has a little tiny role.
It's a tiny little cameo. It's like this film, critic.
It's like he wanted to be in that film because he wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, just because he wanted to be there.
I love that film.
Absolutely. I love it too. I give it 5 stars.
Me too.
Cool.
Yay. We love it.
Go ahead and end things off. It was a long week of watching movies, but man, it was just great.
I have to say something. We lost some serious, wonderful actor and director this week, and his lovely wife. And I'd like, I didn't mention, for us to do a tribute to him and his films.
Sure, I think we should definitely do that. Some of my favorite movies were from him, Rob Reiner, and I would like to talk about them, absolutely.
So I want to mention that I can't even hardly talk about it, but
it's travesty. I can't also put into words how this is and everything, and you're following the story a lot to see what's going to happen next and what's going on with it too. But, I would like definitely to talk about his films and the impact he's done in our lives as well.
I felt like it was a brother that died. He was tragically killed. It's just awful.
We're definitely keeping our thoughts with the family and those who are really impacted by it as well.
But I do want to do a tribute to him and his films and the things that he also acted in, and his family, and he was an incredible person, and his activism. He reminded me of my brother Danny.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for watching movies.
Thank you. And despite all, the recent news and what's been going on, we will do our best to try to enjoy the holidays, as many of you will as well. And I know that there's still a lot of bad things going on in the world right now. And this is one of the only ways that we're able to cope with these difficult times. And I'm glad I get to do it every week with you.
Me too.
Get through it.
But just pray for everyone and be there for each other and say you love each other and give a hug and kiss. And
now more than ever, we really need to be good to each other, for our neighbors, and for our loved ones as well. But thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories, and we will see you next time.
At the movies.